How are you all today? Well, regardless of the answer, it's likely that the chapter of focus today will send you right into rage mode. Let's take a look at chapter 12. This is the second of a triad of Fog of War levels, and is also the only non-Gaiden chapter to have it. Coincidentally, there is a Gaiden right after this chapter that you really want to get to, and thankfully the lone requirement is very simple. You simply need to beat the chapter in less than 20 turns. Take longer than that and the Fog of War will disappear, but you will not be able to go to 12x. Blocking you in that goal are several obstacles you haven't had to face before. The most glaring is the enemy boss Serum, who will start using his sleep staff on you right away. And if you run the course of the map, he will put 3 people to sleep, since missing with a staff doesn't deplete a use and you have no restore staffs this early in the game. Another obstacle are enemy thieves. Now, ModelOmega, I can hear you saying, there aren't any thieves on the map. Well, you see all those brigands on the map with their axes pointing to the left? Each one has a hidden thief skill, and they will attempt to steal from your units, especially sleeping ones, so be extra cautious. There's also reinforcements from around turn 4 to 12 that come in north of the throne, but they can be stopped by taking out the warrior boss. And finally, there is the dense forest in the center right. It's hard to see on the game screen, but certain forests are darker and do not allow any ground units to pass, which can be quite frustrating considering how hard it is to tell them apart on the actual game. All these combine to make a very frustrating chapter, but if you have the warp staff from chapter 7, you can alleviate most of it. Here is where it gets its first great use. I didn't know about this until after I finished this run, but you can actually warp allies into the darkness. You can stop Serum on turn 1 by warping a capable unit there to capture him. Yes, capture. Serum is in fact another unit that can be recruited by capturing and holding him for the next chapter like Leafus. The best person for the job would likely be Dagda with the Brave Axe thanks to the charge skill, but feel free to send anyone you think can capture a 12 defense, 0 speed, 22 HP Dark Mage. But if you don't have the warp staff, or don't want to use it, well, you'll be in for a grind as you both try to conquer the map while keeping your sleeping allies safe from harm. But let's get started already. Unit selection for this map is a bit tricky and somewhat contradictory. You need high move to reach the houses before the thief brigands raise them, but the forest arid areas slow cavalry considerably. But really, you have enough slots to take anyone you'd really like to. However, you should bring Karen and Olwen, the later because she gets a special reward from one of the houses, and the former to assist in rescuing said houses, along with ferrying Olwen to the lower left one so she can get her item. See, as I stated previously, each of the 3 children correspond to a different house in this chapter. On the bottom house you'll get another Crusader scroll, the northern gets you a Silent Staff, and the one in the bottom left will get you a Magic Ring if visited by Olwen. And only Olwen. Why? Hell if I know, you get a vulnerary with anyone else and there isn't any unique dialogue anyway. If you have a Warpy ready, then send them over right away to capture Serum, making sure you use a map to get to the right space. Then split your army up so they can get to the north and south houses as quickly as possible as enemy brigands start very close. And then at the start of the second turn, you'll get another new unit, just like the last chapter, Marita, who has finally shown up after 9 chapters. So let's take a look at her. Marita is the 3rd of 4 sword fighters you'll get, and out of them, she is definitely the most powerful. Insane Growth's Lunar Sword skill that gives a skill % chance to pierce defenses, a PCC of 5, and an insane personal weapon? Yes please. The only things holding her back are a low level and low bases. But the former just means she grows like a weed, meaning said insane growths catch her up no problem. Though I will say she is one of the better fits for the Elite Scroll, as only one other unit really gets a huge use out of it, and she's in one of a dual split route. But the key to Marita's success at a point where you likely already have some powerful units is her personal weapon, the Marita Sword. It isn't the strongest in might, but it packs 20 crit, the Brave effect, and the Awareness Scroll when equipped, which nullifies enemy skills, making her very useful in taking down great shield assholes and late game bosses with troublesome skills. The sword's 20 crit combined with Marita's PCC of 5 means pretty much all of her double attacks will be a crit. But the Brave effect does mean its uses end up depleting faster than most other weapons. It's the same sort of problem Astra has in Radiant Dawn. Still, Marita is an awesome unit to use, even if she is kinda overkill. But she'll probably be the first unit to start hitting 20s. Not bad for starting as a level 2 unpromoted unit close to the halfway point of the game. Anyway, Marita will join right at the lower left house, the one Olwen must visit. so make sure you don't accidentally hit the visit button when moving her, and move her you should to the forest to the left of the house to get a better defensive boost. And don't worry about the thief brigands, as you're still blocking them from getting past you. Back to the main army now. As you rescue the 2 other houses, you'll find the lower one contains the Heim Scroll, which boosts the wielder's magic growth by a whopping 30% along with their luck growth by 10%, but subtracts defense growth by 10%. This is undeniably useful since magic becomes very vital late game, but the defense loss can be very troublesome. So it's best mixed with a defense boosting scroll to counteract the loss. The upper house contains an extremely vital Silent Staff. As per the usual, this completely removes a unit's ability to use magic or staffs, and if used on a magic only unit, then you can capture them immediately. Very nice to have, and I will definitely point out where it can be useful. Once you've saved both houses, you'll want to move to the upper middle of the map so you can cross a bridge to the throne, but waiting near there is a second warrior boss to deal with, the one that enables the reinforcements. Said warrior boss is also holding the ambush scroll, so if you want it, you either need a thief with 13 speed, or someone who can capture him. The later option is likely a tough sell thanks to the forest and 50 HP, so I usually use a thief. But if you think you can, capturing him is good so you can get the hammer, as those will be very useful in a couple chapters when you start to experience what I can only describe as enemy armor overload. Anyway, for the last house, to save some time getting Olwen down there, I'd recommend dismounting her so Karen can ferry her across the river to the house. It's a long ride over land, and you may actually run the clock getting there. Besides, once you take out the warrior boss, there are no more reinforcements, so you can use the extra time to go shopping or fight at the arena that I totally forgot about back from the Chapter 10 video. Sorry, in my defense, this is still a timed mission, so you can't really do any arena grinding here anyway. By the way, the vendor here sells wind tomes, and it's one of 2 vendors to sell them in the game. The other one comes at Chapter 21, so I'd stock up here if you can. I'd also buy lots of door keys if you haven't already, and if for some reason you have no torches left, buy one for the next chapter as well. Once everything is in order, and you still have Sarum in custody, capture the throne before turn 20 to end the chapter and go to 12x. A very bizarre chapter, I will see. See you then.